Good afternoon, everyone. Welcome to our program information session on our online masters in business analytics. We're happy to have you here with us this afternoon. Just to get us started, our agenda for today, we're going to do some brief introductions for our staff that we have with us this afternoon. We're going to go over the program format, the curriculum highlights, talk about some resources that will be available to you should you choose this program as an online student here at Brown. We'll go over our application checklist, and then at the end of the presentation, we are going to have a live Q&A. So if you have questions, you can use the Q&A feature here on Zoom, and we will answer those. You can always type into that as we're going as well, and we can answer questions as the presentation is going on. I just want to introduce our staff with us here this afternoon. My name is Mike McGurl, not Chloe Adams. Good to know I'll have to change that. I'm the admissions coordinator for our online programs. I have Amanda Whitaker, Professor Andrew here. He will be our faculty lead for our program for online masters in management. He's going to talk more about his background. Andrew, if you want to talk a little bit about your background.
Uh, sure, happy to do that. So just very quickly, a lot of words on the screen here, so let me just give you a Reader's Digest version of my background. I spent about 20 years working in the industry, always in the area of business analytics and data science, building predictive models, developing data analytics teams, and the like. And my heart has always been in the academic world, so I always knew that I would return to the academic environment, and so I did so some number of years ago, and I have been focusing really on developing data analytics, specifically business analytics programs that are very much in line with industry needs, very competencies focused, very project oriented. The goal of mine really has been to kind of direct the applied business education more toward what the industry needs, the skills and competencies that especially students graduating with master's degrees are expected to have when they enter the employment marketplace. And so the goal being to make sure that you guys are very much in demand because you have the kinds of skills, competencies, and abilities that the industry employers and other, types of outside employers are looking for. So that's really me in a nutshell. I've spent my entire career doing this stuff, teaching this stuff, and writing about it. So I'm excited to share my knowledge and my experience with you.
Great, thank you so much. Now to go over our program format. So our program, it is 100% online. It's conducted asynchronously, meaning that the program, you'll have information uploaded and then you get to work on that throughout the week. We do have weekly optional synchronous sessions. So these are sessions where you'll be able to interact with your faculty and other peers in your cohort. So you do get an opportunity to really kind of engage on that academic level, kind of face to face over Zoom. Tuition for the courses, it is $8,375 per course. And then we have an optional 2-day, 2.5-day in-person session as well. So if you really were craving that kind of in-person face-to-face, you'll have an opportunity to do that. The program is conducted over 4 consecutive semesters for a total of 16 months. There are 8 courses total. So if you're doing the math at home there, that's 2 courses per semester. And then we have up to 50% merit-based scholarship available. We'll talk a little bit more about that at the end of our presentation here about our application process. But do know that there is merit-based scholarships available for students who do apply. And then I'm going to pass back to Andrew to go over some of our curriculum highlights and talk about why a business analytics degree.
Because it's going to get you a really, really good, well-paying, and very satisfying career. I mean, that's basically the answer. I think most learners that I've worked with over the years come back to school to earn graduate degrees simply to improve the economic aspects of their life and also to broaden their horizons in other ways, but essentially, by and large, to better themselves professionally. And so that is what this degree exactly is going to do for you. And as I mentioned earlier, our program is very much focused on industry-aligned skills and competencies. In other words, what we're going to teach you is, we're going to combine the sort of conceptual what and why understanding. So that way you have a deep enough knowledge so that you can make really informed decisions about how to approach different aspects of data analysis. But just as much, we're going to teach you how to analyze data using tools, using applications, and solving the kind of problems that are sort of commonly encountered in the industry. So that is the focus of our curriculum. Another important aspect that I'd like to point out is that unlike the vast majority of online programs out there, uh, which are typically, each class is typically 6 to 7 weeks in duration, the length of our courses is the length of a traditional semester. So it's 14 weeks. So it's no different than in-person on-campus courses. Now, why is that important? Well, it's important because the content that you're learning here, machine learning, statistical analysis, predictive modeling, those kinds of topics, take a little time to really make sense of it. It's not easy read always, and I'm not trying to discourage you from it. I'm merely trying to make the point that the 14-week format is actually advantageous when it comes to learning topics that do require a longer amount of time to really thoughtfully consider and for it to sink in, to make sense, and then for you to sort of reflect on your learning in a way that is going to result in kind of a lasting ability that's going to stay with you. So that's really an important distinction. And what can you do with this degree? Well, as I mentioned earlier, you can build a very satisfying career. I've done it myself, and I'll be happy to share my experience with you. As I said, I've worked in those kinds of roles in the industry for about 20 years. After I left, I was able to build a consulting practice that I continue to run on the side. And so I have to tell you, I mean, I have never had any regrets about choosing that particular career path. That is exactly what I want to help you to do. That is really it in a nutshell here.
Great. Thank you so much. And then Andrew, we'll talk a little bit about our course sequence here.
Okay, so our course sequence, so as you see there, this is a sequence of 8 courses. So you essentially would take 2 courses per semester. And so the first semester, it's sort of a little bit of an introductory semester. So business analytics and decision making, a bit of a kind of a broad scope introduction into what business analytics is in the context of organizational decision making, how using data to drive fact-based and evidence-based decision making really works. And then we're going to start with statistical methods for business analytics. That has been sort of like the focal point of business analytics for decades. And then from there, the second semester, you're going to jump into data curation, exploration, and visualization as one of the courses. So that essentially is going to equip you with the kind of knowledge, the kind of skills that are often overlooked in programs elsewhere. And that really stems from my own professional experience, which is to take how you take messy data that comes from all manner of electronic transaction processing systems, repositories, and so on. How do you make it usable? You can't conduct analysis of data that are messy, that are disparate, that don't really fit together. It all needs to be cleansed, it needs to be restructured, it needs to be organized, it needs to be ready for analysis before you can do analysis. And so that's the first course. And of course, visualizing data, doing basic descriptive analysis so you understand what is the informational content of it is just as important. And then we'll give you the basic introduction into predictive analytics and forecasting. So the traditional predictive analytic building models that are going to estimate the likelihood or the severity of outcomes of interest. Now, your third semester, we're going to switch gears a bit, and then you're going to jump into machine learning. So that's more of a kind of, if you will, more modern approach to analytics. Although I don't want to I don't want to undersell statistical analysis, because machine learning didn't replace statistical analysis any more than internet didn't replace television. It simply offered a different modality. And so in semester 3, we're first going to introduce you to machine learning, deep learning, and large learning models, and then separately to text analytics. So those are sort of two separate classes that give you kind of a hands-on introductory immersion in how you work with traditional structured numeric data. So that's traditional machine learning class, the first of the two classes. And then how do you extract insights out of unstructured text data? And that's the focus of text analytics. The fourth semester, you see something that you may not have seen elsewhere, multimodal analytics. The basic idea here is this. If you are in a organization, oftentimes you're at the point when a decision needs to be made. And because we live in such information-rich, data-rich world, what happens more often than not is that there are all kinds of information, all kinds of data, all kinds of reports that coming at the decision maker. And so people sometimes get paralyzed because there's sort of too much coming at them in terms of those decision inputs, and so they get lost in it all, and don't have a good ability to sort of consume it all, to synthesize it and draw a singular conclusion out of it. That is the focus of multimodal analytics class. We'll basically teach you how to do that, how to function in that kind of overstimulated, informationally overstimulated environment, if you will. And then your learning journey here will end with business analytics capstone. This is entirely 100% hands-on project, real data, real problem. You're going to spend a semester going through the process of how you first set up your data to be analysis ready, how you build a particular model or set of models to conduct, to make specific predictions or carry out analysis of interest. And then how do you take the results of those analysis and shape them into decision guiding insight, which in itself requires some explanation and skill. And then how do you wrap it all up in a professional looking report that your industry colleagues, your industry clients would expect to receive from you. And so across all 4 semesters and across all 4 classes, one thing that I would like to emphasize is that although the business analytics capstone is all hands-on projects, it's basically entirely experiential, 100% project-based class, that project-based learning cuts across all of our 8 courses. So in each of the 8 courses, a significant element of your learning and the largest part of your assessment is going to be your demonstrated ability to do the actual work. So essentially what we emphasize in the entirety of our program is your ability to function as a skilled business analytics professional. So that is the very ethos, if you will, of our program here.
Great. Thank you so much. Next, we're going to talk a little bit about some of our highlights of being an online student here at Brown. So your courses will all be available anywhere through Canvas. That is our learning management system. We do have, again, we mentioned we have optional synchronous sessions, about 1 hour a week, just to support further engagement and collaboration across working with your fellow peers. In addition to that, your degree that you are awarded at the end of this program will just be a Master of Science in Business Analytics. It does not indicate anywhere that it is online, nor will it on the transcript. So you will have your full degree, your full master's degree from Brown University. You are also invited to join us at your commencement ceremony when you reach the end of this academic journey, with an additional virtual ceremony offered for those who cannot attend. Online students at Brown also have full access to our resources, including the library, career services, student accessibility services, as well as our foundation and resource center, and our full support team. That includes myself, Amanda, and the rest of our team who are here to support you throughout your journey. And then kind of wrapping us up, our application checklist. So just some of the things you'll need to apply to this program. First off, we are going to need a bachelor's degree from an accredited institution. We will need your resume outlining at least 2 years of professional work experience. We do require 3 letters of recommendation. We hope that at least one of those letters are going to be provided from a professional supervisor or manager, just to get an idea of that work experience. We'll need your official transcripts. So at the end of that process, we do need your official transcripts. Then a personal statement. So about 1,500 words or less. We're just interested in why you're pursuing this program. How is this degree going to help you in the long term and the short term? And additionally, why Brown? Why now? Why is this the program for you? And we do have one final prerequisite. We do ask that you have at least 1 semester of college level math or statistics with a grade of B or better, and that must be completed within the last 5 years. For our international students, we do require transcript evaluation through either WES, ECE, or SpanTran. So this is required for degrees from non-US institutions. And they are required for international transcript evaluations are required for the application submission process. And then if your native language is not English, we do require you submit the TOEFL or IELTS scores. And there are, some brief exceptions, as you will see there. And then important dates, our application is open. So if you haven't already started your application, we certainly encourage to do so if this program has really stuck out to you today. Our early action deadline is March 15th. You'll see our priority deadline is May 15th, and the final deadline is June 15th, with the fall semester starting on September 3rd. Your application fee will be automatically waived for attending this program overview, and that will also be waived through the early action deadline. We encourage you to apply early. Again, we do have a limited number of merit-based scholarships available. So the earlier you can apply, the earlier we can kind of assess your application and get you moving through the process. Now, if you'd like, we have an option for a live Q&A. So if you have any questions, please put those questions into the Q&A function. We can answer those live or via chat. We're happy to hear if you do have any further questions that we can assist you with. And as we wait to see if we do have any questions coming in, again, just a reminder, the application is currently now open, so you can apply today. We'd be happy to get your application and start moving you through that process. We'll wait another minute or two to see if any folks have any other specific questions. We had a question come in here. How are merit-based scholarships determined? And any tips on making applications stand out? That's really a great question. So again, we're going to be looking at things like your academic history, your work experience, your personal statement. We really want to find out why this is the program for you. Trying to find those exceptional students who are going to really stand out in our program. Let's see here. Yeah, more info on the tuition and fees. Yeah, so again, I can scroll back here for our information on the cost of our program. So again, that's going to be 8,375 per course. So that's going to be 2 courses a semester. So that would be 8,375 per course. So that's 2 courses per semester. Okay, we have a couple other questions coming in. How strict is the math or stats class in the last 5 years? So that is a requirement for students. And if it was in the past 6 years, we would ask that you have a more recent course. And Amanda, if you correct me if I'm wrong here, something like a Coursera course would also be accepted. Yeah, so if your course is after the past 6 years, if you've taken something on, say, Coursera in mathematics or statistics, that would help as well. That would be acceptable. It said, if I graduated from college a long time ago, do you recommend I take a college math class as a refresher? And where can I take that course? Um,
Let me jump in here. So
yeah,
so it's
absolutely.
it's so it's not so much, I don't want to overemphasize just abstract math. It really, the focus is more on familiarity with various statistical concepts. So the assumption is anyone who has undergraduate college degree, which obviously is a prerequisite for stepping into a graduate program, would have rudimentary mathematical knowledge. And specifically going into business analytics and analytics in general, it's helpful to have had some familiarity with basic statistics. So univariate, bivariate statistics, ideas of distribution, measures of central tendency, standard deviation, those types of questions. So those types of issues. So it's really that would be that's where the emphasis goes. So that way, when you step into the class, the instructor can make a reasonable assumption that everyone is at sort of certain base level of knowledge, so that we don't have these huge inequalities in terms of background, specifically in terms of those basic statistical concepts. So what would be recommended here? I mean, essentially any basic, like Statistics 101 course will give you an overview of those kinds of ideas that are at the center of what we're discussing here.
Great. And Andrew, another question I think that you'd be helpful to answer for us. This is, what is the Capstone project going to be like? And could you talk a little bit about that?
Well, so let me tell you what it's going to be like. So essentially, you're going to be given a business problem, and I'm not going to disclose what it is right now, and it really wouldn't be that important at this point. So you're going to get a commonly faced business problem, and you're going to be provided with data that people who wrestle with that problem usually have available to them. And then the data are going to be sort of raw data, so it will require a good amount of restructuring, feature engineering, pre-processing, all such things to make it usable. And then you will, first do that, and then you will sort of identify what kind of analyses would you need to do in order to be able to produce the kind of outcomes that are going to help answer the business question at hand. Now, the important part here is that, we're not just going to throw a bunch of data at you and give you a business question and say, hey, good luck, see you at in 14 weeks. So each week they're going to be, you're going to have an opportunity to sort of discuss what you have done, ask questions. So you're doing work, but you're being guided along, because the capstone is as much for you to demonstrate your ability to do what you will be expected to do once you leave this program, as much as it is the kind of the final opportunity for you to fine tune, to polish your skills, your knowledge, your ability, your thinking processes when it comes to using data to solve business problems. So it's sort of like, let's say I will more than likely teach it. So then I am going to walk along with you and provide you with assistance through the entire process, but then you are going to be doing all of the hands-on work, and ultimately producing the results and delivering the final product in terms of the report and the contents of it. So hopefully this answers your question, but that's what the capstone is going to look like.
Great, thank you, Andrew. And another question for you as well. So, what kind of backgrounds do you think would be beneficial for this program? A student as, do we need analytics experience? And what type of roles do you think graduates will be able to get with this degree?
So you know what, the background, of course, the standard answer in terms of that would be that kind of more of the, quantitative business, hard science, engineering background would generally be somewhat more helpful than, say, liberal arts or something along those lines. But my belief and my experience is that it's really aptitude that's more important than the background. So if you have the aptitude, if you have the desire, if you have interest in learning how to use data to answer everyday business and other organizational problems, questions, then that's more important than a specific background. So if you have that aptitude, if you enjoy working with data, if you enjoy learning methods of how data can be translated into information and then ultimately into decision guiding knowledge, then that's really more important than specific background. It's a little bit like, years ago, Southwest Airline used to have that motto. They said that they hire based on attitude because they can teach everything else. To be perfectly honest with you, that's how I feel about our program too. If you have the right aptitude, we will teach you everything else because that is our job here, that is our mission, and we're good at what we do here. So I am not being boastful. I'm just just being upfront with you. And what kind of jobs you will be able to do? Well, I mean, there's of course virtually every organization nowadays has lots and lots of data. And so, the expression has been that so many companies are data rich but information poor because while they have lots of data lying around in a manner of speaking, they don't have nearly as many people who are capable of translating those data resources into useful information. So whether it's within marketing, within finance, within general management, within consulting, there are analysts, senior analysts, manager, depending on how much prior experience you have. Roles that are all tied to being able to use data in a particular context to provide information that's going to make certain decisions more objective, more fact-based. So I don't want to just name 2 or 3 different roles that happen to come to my mind right now, but in my experience, basically across different organizational functions, there would be opportunities. A lot of it is typically has been in marketing and financial services, in consulting, but that's not all, those are not the only areas where you would find good opportunities for this kind of a degree.
Great, thank you so much, Andrew. And one more question for you. Could you maybe highlight maybe some of the key differences between this program and the data science program that Brown also offers?
Well, so this program is expressly focused on business analytics. Our data science is focused more on social sciences, on other realms of decision making and using data. Beyond that, there's sort of a big difference between data science and business analytics. And the difference is, and the funny thing is, in the past, I've been in senior roles as a person heading up business analytics division and one heading up data science division. So I can speak actually from my hands-on industry experience. Data science is a lot more about coding. It's a lot more essentially about how you take massive amounts of really messy data and make those data accessible and usable to everyone else. So you may not necessarily do analyses that answer specific questions. You may essentially take data that are otherwise inaccessible to many other people in the organization and reorganize, restructure, and pre-process those data so that someone else can take it and, let's say, input it into Tableau and create nice scorecards and dashboards and sort of run with it on their own, but they wouldn't be able to do it without a data scientist doing that. Now, you will also be called for when it comes to sort of a high-end tasks, which is like building a very specific type of predictive model that uses let's say ensemble machine learning techniques for a particular purpose, right? So something that requires highly specialized technical skill set that generally would be data science as well. So it's essentially, in that sense, data science is a lot more coding oriented. Python, first and foremost, to some degree R, and a lot more kind of higher order statistics and machine learning, neural networks, algorithm focused. Business analytics, on the other hand, is sort of more about how you take data and use it in everyday organizational decision making. So it's less focused on coding using open source programming languages like Python, and more on, well, whatever tool you can use. If it's Excel, it's Excel. If it's SAS or SPSS, that's fine as well. How do you take data? I have a specific question about how to allocate my promotional spending. I would love for someone to look at our marketing campaign results from the last year and do some basic analysis telling me which of the different modes, which of the different programs produce highest incremental return on investment. And so a business analyst would sort of focus on that kind of a question. So if your interest is more about being part of the organizational decision making and ultimately maybe working your way up the organizational ladder into management and then higher management, then business analytics in that sense would be more of a generalist role when you're not expected to be highly proficient coder or an expert in esoteric modeling tools, but you have that sort of everyday knowledge to translate data into decision guiding insights on everyday basis, and more importantly, to speak about it in a way that doesn't require for listeners to be fluent in statistics. So how do you take results of logistic regression analysis and describe those results in a way that everyone can understand? And it right away suggests some immediate courses of action or some immediate decisions that might be more advantageous than others. So I probably talked your ears off, but hopefully this makes sense. I'm happy to provide additional explanation if needed.
And if I could just jump in quickly, I did want to clarify that our online data science program is really grounded in that policy, ethics, and governance. So there's 8 classes, and while 4 of them are going to be fairly technical, the other 4 are really focused on taking a look at how AI policy is being developed, looking at things like fairness and bias and machine learning, and it's going to be all of the classes are looking at data science from that lens specifically, while the residential master's in data science we offer is going to be more of that just traditional data science degree.
Excellent.
Great. Thank you so much. And thank you to everyone who attended this afternoon. We hope you learned more about our business analytics program. If you did have specific questions or maybe questions you didn't feel comfortable asking in the chat, please reach out to us at onlinemasters_admissions@brown.edu. And you can always schedule an appointment with one of our graduate recruitment coordinators. This presentation will be emailed out after later this afternoon. So please check your emails if there's anything on the slides you need more information on or wanted to come back to. Please do. We're really happy to answer any other questions you have throughout this process, and we hope to see your application coming in soon. So thank you all very much. Have a wonderful afternoon, and we will hopefully see you in your application soon.
And just if I may add one
Yeah.
quick comment, if any of you would like to reach out to me on LinkedIn, feel free. You just have to, of course, remember my name, but it's going to be included in a presentation, which will make it easier. So if you have any additional questions and like to just connect with me on LinkedIn, feel free. I'll be more than happy to further the conversation with you guys. Again, thank you and best of luck to you.
Bye.